Meine Damen und Herren, willkommen zum Nürburgring in Deutschland. And we're gonna have a great party here tonight. It's the 9th round of the Formula Renault Sprint Series. I was just kidding about the German part. We're at the Nürburgring here. As you can see written on the walls, we are in the penultimate round of this championship. And in 2 weeks, we'll celebrate the final at Spa-Francorchamps. Kenzie Nieuwhof is starting from pole with Dane Bird in second position, Nicky Decker in third, Damon Stigelaar in fourth. And there are only 7 drivers here today at the start, but we will have a spectacle nonetheless. We can see Dane Bird blink a little bit. That's probably his connection. You can see the standings as well, and we await the drivers grinning up here who are busy and revving up as we speak. And the lights are off. It's Kenzie Nieuwhof with a little bit of slipstream going away. It's Dane Bird on the right side of the screen in the turquoise Renault. Nicky Bird going to the outside. Drivers are heading into turn 1. It's going to be the short Grand Prix version, so we're going to add to the left immediately. There you can see it. Kenzie Nieuwhof safely through as first. Daniel S.R.O.C in the back, overtaking Solima. And we see Frelick, who has started from last place. And we can see a move right there from Solo again on the inside on Solima's part. And let's see if he can stay away from Solima this time. We can see here Damon Stigelaar in fourth, driving right behind Nicky Decker. Let's see what's going to happen here. We can see Simon Frelick coming through there in last place. Can he make it immediately? Yes, he does on the inside in the hairpin. And has gotten P7 away from Solima. Nice job. 8 drivers instead of 7. What I said earlier, excuse me, but we are gone and on the way. The race today will be 14 laps long, both of them. The second, of course, will be an inverse grid again. We've had some issues with the server earlier due to the beta UI not working correctly. So we are gonna take a look at what the drivers can do today. We see Dane Bird having some trouble keeping up with Nieuwhof. It's already 1.7 seconds behind him. Damon Stigelaar and S.R.O.C in the middle of the pack, 4th and 5th. Nice done there. And let's see, we have a little bit of a fog coming up. Daniel S.R.O.C make a move on the inside of S.R.O.C. Very well done. Oh, loses almost the back end of his car going through the chicane. And now the drivers will turn right up to start finish for the last corner. It's Solima on the inside of Simon Frelick again here. It's the end of lap 1. And the drivers are still all relatively safe here. There is a little bit of a skirmish going on here in the back. It's Solima Frelick still with the S.R.O.C right in front of him. Let's see what the drivers here can do. Up front, there's Nicky Decker just taking a peek on the inside, and it's S.R.O.C with a very early break there. S.R.O.C nearly drove into him, and oh, it spins out, and Solima takes P6. Frelick moves up to 7, and Solo is on to P5. Very well done there. Let's see if Nicky Decker can keep up with him. Stigelaar here. Ooh, Nicky Decker with a little bit of a white line there, and Solima is keeping up with Solo, strangely enough. That's crazy enough to see today. Frelick trying to get between the 2 drivers, and it's gonna be a hard pass here. He has taken Solo. Solo is right. Oh, gets a little hit. Solo has been cut off a little bit there. Saves it, but barely. And Solima squeezes out the air there between the wheels of himself and Frelick. Nice done there by Frelick. Gets back up on the line here through the half semi-chicane there. And Solo has a little bit of damage to his front wing. Might have some trouble with the stop speed now. And up front, it's still Nicky Decker and Damon Stigelaar running up each other here in P3. It's going to be very tight for the podium there. And let's see if these 2 can make it a show. Excuses for the fog around the Nürburgring today. Track conditions are cold and overcast. We're early in the morning here at Nürburgring. Providing a lot of grip here around the track, even though some drivers haven't had the car set up correctly. So we might see a little bit of oversteer through some of the slower turns. We've seen S.R.O.C already having trouble there in the first 2 corners. And Dane Bird keeps blinking a little bit, meaning he has some connectivity issues, but so far doesn't seem to cause any problem. Daniel S.R.O.C in the meanwhile losing the back end of his car, braking in there, going into turn 1, and that's a shame because he was closing in on Solima again, but S.R.O.C is able to pick up the pace. And meanwhile, Frelick has gotten closer to Nicky Decker and Damon Stigelaar. Has an excellent pace here around. Even though he didn't show it in qualifying, he was one of the quickest drivers in practice, so he might have a few surprises up his sleeve for us tonight. And he is now right behind Nicky Decker, moves his car to the left. And Nicky Decker trying to defend it. Frelick going up to the curb, they're still side by side and it's gonna be close. No, it's still Nicky Decker up front. P4 for the Dutchman, keeping the young Polishman behind him. It's giving him a run for his money. Meanwhile, Tim Stigelaar with the skirmish right behind him. That's a very weird looking move there through the fog of the Nürburgring. But Simon Frelick has gotten around Nicky Decker. Let's see if he can outbrake him coming into the chicane. No, he can't. So that is a very careful move there by Frelick. Very curious as to why he was that careful. Anyway, Nicky Decker moves on to P4. We are missing drivers today like Jensen, Frederik van Nieuwo, Hamid Littles. So there's some outsiders and some favorites missing here today. But that won't make it any less exciting because we're seeing some great battles here between Simon Frelick and Nicky Decker, for example. Here we are on board with Simon Frelick right behind Nicky Decker. Nicky Decker is having some very weird exit problems in some corners, but Frelick is pushing on. We've got a few more 100 meters. Oh, he's blocking the way towards the hairpin. It's defensive and driving here there by Nicky Decker, and Simon Frelick had to pump the brakes a little bit there. Now he's crawling around Nicky Decker, and they're side by side. It's this time Simon Frelick coming up through the semi-chicane there. Very well done there. And let's see if Nicky Decker can counter attack now with a long straight coming up here after this right-hander right here. Soderman doesn't seem able to keep up with these two. 3 seconds behind him. But Nicky Decker looking good. He's trying to use the draft a little bit. There's hardly any wind there around the track. We've measured winds from 1 mile an hour. That's not much. Coming through the west, and it's a great battle between these two here. Let's see if they can keep it up for 10 more laps or so. Here we can see Frelick uses the whole width of the track a little bit better than Decker does. And in the back we have the battle of Solo and Attigelaar. Solo with a move for P7. Has gotten around Attigelaar, but Attigelaar is going to try the last turn here to the right. Succeeds so. Very well done there. Both are giving it their all, even if it's for P7. And they're trying and they're trying. Solo will most likely try in turn 1. Has maybe seen Attigelaar having some troubles in these slow corners, but so has he. So it's going to be a toss of, oh, they touch. They contact, and that's a very weird. That's probably a net code, something that's might be connectivity issues on iRacing's part. It's a shame, but the drivers are able to resume the race, or so it seems at least. They don't seem to have a lot more additional damage. That's one of the side effects of netcode at the moment, so that's good. That means they can be relatively on going with the race as they were. And Frelick has immediately pulled a gap between him and Nicky Decker, and now has the same distance between him and Decker as he has with him and Damon Stigelaar right up front. And he's gaining. Damon Stigelaar hasn't been able to come closer to Dane Bird yet. And Dane Bird has seen Nuaf disappear through the mist here in the Nürburgring. And let's see if there in the back the two drivers have found each other again. We see Attigelaar. He's not that far ahead of Solo. Has some weird moves here like this one. Run a little bit wider, so it seemed. Might have been the camera angle as well. But he's still hanging on. It's P8, still top 10 position. It's always good. Attigelaar, one of the outsiders as well. Still in the standings. And a lot might happen in that middle pack. And don't forget, there's bragging rights at stake here at the end of the season. And a little bit of money as well. Meanwhile, Sören has gotten around Decker. Decker has spun out. I see that he spun out. Has a little bit of trouble through some corners. Meanwhile, Frelick very close to Damon Stigelaar. And in the back again, it's S.R.O.C and Stigelaar. The two have found each other again. They're in turn 1. Doing very well. So Stigelaar might be a little bit quicker than S.R.O.C here. And Frelick, let's see if he can make a move for P3. He is trying to make a move there in the standings to creep up back in the top 3. He is finishing virtually in front of Solima right now in the race, so that's always good. And Dane Bird has to watch out that these two don't come all that closer to him. And there we are. Simon Frelick on the outside trying a move for P3 here on Damon Stigelaar. It's going to be a right-left here, so either one might have the edge. This time it's still Damon Stigelaar. Simon Frelick still not really pushing it. There's a long ways to go. And I think as long as he sees Dane Bird in the distance, he's not going to push too much. He maybe knows that Nuaf is too far away. But Dane Bird in second place might be more realistic for him. And we can see the difference in height through that hairpin there. The track's way lower on the inside of that turn than on the outside, of course. So that is what causes Simon Frelick's front right wheel to lock up, and he's getting closer, ladies and gentlemen. He is right there at the gates. Watch out for Simon Frelick. He might make a move in the upcoming straight right here. Let's see who has the better exit there. It's Simon Frelick, obviously there. Creeping up the inside, he's already beside him, he's already past him even. So it's up to Damon Stigelaar to creep up behind him and use the chicanes inside on the first turn. No, doesn't succeed. And tucks in behind Simon Frelick. Ooh, and that looked like a little wild entry there. No, still going good. Very good. Very well done there by Simon Frelick. And now it's off to the races. And we'll have to see if they can get Bird right in front of him. And maybe even Damon Stigelaar might think, oh, if I just stay behind Simon Frelick, he may lead me towards Dane Bird. And once they battle it out, I can be the laughing third. We can see here S.R.O.C and Stigelaar in the back. They're still not far away removed from each other. It's hardly a second. Decker meanwhile having trouble in the back. You can see some damages here, by the way, on his rear wing. And I think his rear axle is also a little bit shook up. Now Simon Frelick is getting closer and closer. We can see the speed differences between him and Bird in front of him. And it's going to be close one. We're practically halfway through the race. This is lap 8. We've got 14 to go in total. Nicky Decker meanwhile is in the pits. And let's see if there's a move possible already in the last turn. Coming up after the pylons here. Yes. And it's Dane Bird already feeling Frelick's breath in his neck. Oh, but Simon Frelick has a way better exit line coming out of the last turn. And it's Simon Frelick choosing the tight spot there on the outside. And it's gonna be even more tight when they come together in the turn 2. Let's see. No. Frelick being awfully cautious. It's Nicky Decker up front there, coming a little bit between the drivers. Stigler didn't seem to have a lot of issues, but he did look like he just missed the corner a little bit there. And we'll be following Dane Bird. Looking right behind him is Simon Frelick. We might see him getting bigger and bigger in the rear view of his car. And Simon Frelick really needed to hit the brakes there in the chicane. Was almost getting on top of Dane Bird there. And I am gonna switch back here to Attila and Daniel S.R.O.C, who have gotten closer and closer to each other again. Attila can't shake off Daniel S.R.O.C behind him. Drivers are in a fight for P6. And Simon Frelick seems to be pushing a little bit harder than he was before. Might be thinking that it's going to be time here to move up a spot. And Dane Bird is really trying to keep Simon Frelick behind him. It's going to be difficult, but he's managing. Simon Frelick, meanwhile, trying out as to where he needs to put his car beside that of Dane Bird. But Dane Bird also having those connectivity issues, causing a little bit of confusion for Simon Frelick. And Simon Frelick is already on the inside. This is the chicane coming up. No, excuse me, still too early. It's coming up the straight before the last chicane there. And still Dane Bird, with Frelick hitting those curbs quite hard. And that's Simon Frelick shaking away from Dane Bird, who might be teleporting a little bit in front of his eyes. And this is a great move by Simon Frelick, braking very late there in the chicane. Dane Bird had no defense against it. And that's very well done by Simon Frelick, who has moved up to P10. And he has 17 seconds to make up in comparison to Kenzie Nuhoff. It's going to be a little bit of a long shot. Let's see if Dane Bird can come back here. It did look like he was holding up Simon Frelick a little bit, but who knows? Maybe following Simon Frelick might lead to some quicker lines around Nürburgring. And then Stigler, in the meanwhile, has not been able to really pick it up there. These two were driving at a slightly bigger pace than he is. He's dangling around just right behind those two. But he's doing very well. Finishing in front of Solima is good, who is right behind him in the standings. And for now, it's still Daniel S.R.O.C right behind Attila. And it's quite interesting here for P6, because these drivers have been following each other, have even been switching positions for a little while, have even been involved in some contact. We can see there the front wing of Daniel S.R.O.C being bent. That's not going to make it easier for him as regard of speed or turn-in. But so far he's doing quite well, considering. And these are the parts where Attila just moves away from. That might be due to that front wing not venting the air around the car correctly. And meanwhile, as I predicted, Simon Felix can see the graphic is moving away from the invert there in P2. It's good to know that the view for the drivers is a little bit better than for us through the cameras. The fog really making it hard for us to show everything. The deep views, unfortunately, not available to us, I should say. This is a very nice view here through turns 1 and 2. There's there a little bit of oversteer coming out. And we will be following Kenzie Nua for a bit. He's had a relatively quiet race. Ooh, and as we signal into him, he does something like that. Halfway drifting through turn 1. Very impressive. Has built up a considerable lead. And he's looking like he's doing well. And he'll be happy to stay in front of Tigrar and Solima in the standings with this win. The only thing that would be disastrous to his position in the standings is a little bit of a crash, even in the second races where there's always an inverted grid. So you might always end up behind a very slow driver who's maybe not really used to having the same braking points as you do, or accelerating at the same pace as you would. So he will be happy to bag these 50 points here in race 1, and he will jump into his last lap around Nürburgring. And we'll stay with him for the remainder of this lap. There's not a lot happening right now behind him. He's looking good. Looks like he's in perfect control through the corners here at Nürburgring. They're very good. It all looks really natural when we see Nuaf doing it. And meanwhile, with 3 more turns for him coming up here at Nürburgring. Oh, it has a little bit of a mistake there. It takes the wrong chicane. That's going to be a slowdown, but it's not going to be enough to slow down that much to keep Simon Frelick from getting really closer. With the last turn finished as of now, it's Kenzie Nua for the win in race 1. Congratulations to him. It's 50 points. And meanwhile, we will wait for Simon Frelick and the rest who are driving behind him. And while they do, we will be preparing for race 2. And we hope to see you in a bit when we start with our second race tonight here at Nürburgring. And that will put Nicky Decker in first place, since he's finished last right now. And we can see the drivers here making some donuts. Deenbert and Tigelaar for P4 and 5. Excuse me, P3 and 4. And Solima for P5. While in the back we will have Solo and Tigelaar. And Tigelaar has managed to lose that 6th place to Solo. So that's something to keep in mind for the next race. That will put Solo a place ahead on the grid later. That is a row, it's a second row place then in that case. And he might have a very good start there in race 2. So we'll be starting right behind Nicky Decker in that case. So keep your eyes out for him in race 2. Meanwhile, Solo coming up through the last corner. And Tigelaar in a little bit as well. Once again, we thank you for watching. We will see you back in a bit for race 2 here at the Nürburgring. Thank you and bye bye.